Henry's today?
Little groin.
Do you expect Matthew to practice tomorrow?
I don't think so. We'll be week to week, but probably not.
At what point during the week are you guys just evaluating to see when he'll be ready?
Week to week. I don't know. I wish I could help you out more with that.
Kobe Turner, was that rest day or is there an injury there as well?
His back's bothering him a little bit, so we're going to be smart with him. Okay, see you guys later.
It looked like Kier Thomas was having some success dropping in the coverage. What did you see from him in year 3?
He's done a really good job, and it's not exclusive to the coverage. That was a great play that he made. But Kier's had a really good camp. I think Joe does such a great job with really that whole outside linebacker room. Been really pleased with all of them. They're all continuing to show improvement. But, Kier's been a guy that's been with us for a long time. He's getting better and better. I think he really makes his presence felt on some of the early downs. But that was awesome. And I think what's really cool is you see how excited his teammates get for him when he makes plays like that. And, he's a Ram through and through. Really like what he's doing.
When you think back to your first year as a head coach, were there any times where you felt mentally just overloaded? And if so, how did you kind of combat that?
I probably didn't even know what I didn't know then. So I think what I've always felt really fortunate about, Sarah, is I've been surrounded by great people. I can really remember, having Wade Phillips as a defensive coordinator, and when you're a young head coach, I think sometimes you feel like you have to have all the answers, and he helped me realize that no, there's real strength in saying I don't know the answer, but I'll figure it out, or leaning on the people around you. Where you got Wade Phillips, you had John Fossil, had guys like Aaron Cromer. We had a lot of really great coaches. Matt LaFleur was on that staff, Zach Taylor, Shane Waldron. So I've been really fortunate to be surrounded by really good people. And I think the cool thing about it is when it was that early, you had that unobstructed mind. You didn't know what to worry about. I oftentimes am reminded of, never forgetting that this is truly a blessing. And, in those moments, and it was a blur, but I don't think that, I felt like I was, hindered by stuff. But it was a pretty smooth journey. And, I think the cool thing when I reflect back on those early years is you are totally and completely present. You're trying to bring the right authentic energy and vibe and pouring into people. And, that's what we're going to continuously try to do going into year 9.
With Liam as a first-time head coach, is there any advice you give him on the mental aspect of navigating this year?
Oh yeah, I think it's just Liam and I talk a lot, and I think it's about leaning on the people around you, and don't feel like you have to have all the answers. Make sure that you do a great job of being able to delegate to the great people that you've surrounded yourself with. Liam knows way more than I knew when I first got the job, so he's way ahead of the curve, like all these other guys that are getting their opportunities to go do their thing. So they won't make the same mistakes I did.
Landman left practice?
Yeah, I think he felt a little bit of a calf. We were just being smart with him. I felt err on the side of caution. That was kind of what they had communicated to me.
And Konata, Mumpfield.
Yeah.
Seems like making a big impression.
Yeah.
What's your kind of assessment?
He's doing a great job. I think you're right. You see him making a lot of plays. He's a mature rookie. He's a guy that is wired to be able to separate. I think he's catching the football really well. He's really smart and conscientious. He's moving around, can do a lot of different things, but you're right. He's one of the guys that has really shined, with some of those younger guys, and he continues to be able to, just answer the bell with the opportunities that he's gotten. And I think Stetson's done a nice job being able to get the football to him, but been really pleased with him. He is, he's doing a heck of a job.
What are you seeing in Nate Scheelhaase, and what does he bring to the table for the offense in the second?
Yeah, he's a great coach. He's got a big picture perspective. He's got a great ability to be able to connect with the players. He's a rare communicator, has high emotional intelligence. He really works at it. I think Nate's one of those guys, like a good amount of the coaches that we do have, is they take a role and a responsibility, and then they redefine it for whoever comes into that role whenever he gets a chance to continue to elevate himself. But in a short amount of time, he has made himself incredibly valuable. He's got a great humility about himself too, and you see why he had all the success at his previous stops, and why people were trying to come get him this year. But we're fortunate to be able to have him, and we'll cherish it if it's for one more year, or hopefully a couple more than that.
You talked about wanting to add versatility to the offense back in January. What type of optionality does the depth of the tight end room give you?
Yeah, it's big, Adam. I think people are excited over there. Huh? I think you guys heard he's coming out of retirement, right? You know what? I think what it does is it gives us the ability to be able to mix personnels, and ultimately it's how do we bring it to life? What does that really look like? But I feel like, we've got a really deep tight end room. Scooter Huff has done an excellent job, but Tyler Higbee leading the way. I think Colby Parkinson and Davis Allen have been outstanding, and I've really been pleased with Terrance Ferguson. It's unfortunate that he got a little bit of a groin. Don't know how long he'll be out for. But we are going to be smart, and you can see at this point when you get into that third block, some of those things can kind of, wear on you, or you're getting some guys with some soft tissue stuff, and so we do want to be smart with him, but that gives us a real chance to be versatile, and we got some depth at running back that you feel good about, and then Gary asked earlier about Konata. I think Xavier Smith's another guy, and Jordan Whittington continues to take steps, and then we know those top three guys, so feel really good about that. And if you're looking at a positive, like I've mentioned, can't wait to be able to get Matthew back out here leading the way, and I know he's chomping at the bit as well, but in the meantime, Stetson and Jimmy are doing a really good job of continuing to get better and use these reps for their benefits.
What type of impact does having AD out here have on the guys, just what you've observed?
Yeah, I mean, his impact is instrumental. We're able to use him when you're referencing all the things that we want to be about, what he's been, what he represents as a man, how he went about it the right way with his work ethic, the way that he enjoyed competing, the mindset he had, the energy that he brought every single day. So he epitomizes everything, and then he still stays connected. I mean, he's really special to me. He's really special to this place, and his impact is so significant. And so when he comes around, it sure means a lot. And when he speaks, guys certainly listen.
Sean, with Stafford,
yeah,
is there any way given how he's not practiced, that he would participate in joint practices with like the Cowboys or the Chargers?
Cowboys, no. The Cowboys, I would say that's less than likely. With the Chargers, what I know I'm probably irritating you guys, but it truly is a week-to-week thing, and what I don't want to do is set a timeline. I know he's making good progress. Saw Dr. Watkins again today. Everything is in good shape. But to answer your question, Gary, the Cowboys is a no, and then we'll see about the Chargers.
Is Dr. Watkins the same guy you saw at the end of the 22 season with his spinal contusion?
I don't know that. You have to ask Reggie. Did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, though. Okay, see you guys.
Let's go. How we doing? All right. No, I'm just kidding.
What do you think about the way the offense is developing now through 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I mean, coming out here working on some stuff that we're doing, and good days. Always coming back to work. You know what I mean? It's never as good, never as bad as you think, and then it's good, man. Stacking some good days.
How's it feel to be able to be out here participating, compared with where you were last year?
It's great. It always gives you a different perspective when you're not out there and being able to do what you love, and so it's cool. I'm happy to be a part of it. Training camp's always hard work, but just being able to be a part of it, it's gives you a different perspective this year. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Enjoy the work. So.
And the role with 4 tight ends here now,
right?
More, but
right.
Where do you see your role? I mean, aside from.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the deepest room I've been a part of since I've been here. A lot of guys that can play top to bottom. So, just trying to be a leader, a mentor for those guys, and pass on. I've seen a lot of ball, played a lot of snaps, so try to pass on all the knowledge I can and keep competing with those guys.
What have you seen from? I know he didn't practice today, but from Terrance.
Yeah, he's showing some flashes of really good stuff. You know what I mean? He's gonna be a great ball player, and but getting him out here and doing it day in, day out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So. It's been special to have him, and a great dude, and we're excited.
How would you describe what he's like in the meeting room?
He's great. He's attentive. He's willing. He's willing. Wants to learn. Receptive to a lot of things. Yeah.
How have you felt Coleman's presence back at center?
Say it again.
How have you felt Coleman's presence back at center?
Yeah, I mean he's a special player. We missed him a little bit last year. You know what I mean? His ability to communicate and second to none that I've been around. Really athletic center that can do a lot of things for us that we want to get done, and we're lucky to have him back. I'm happy to have him back.
You aforementioned just the grind of training camp and how big of a challenge it is. What brings you a sense of joy during training camp?
I mean, this is just being around the guys, like being around this team. We got a special team, and then too, it's a game we all grew up loving. It's a game, so the opportunity to play it, especially at this level, and then get paid for it, is special. And that's when them dog days hit. Is when you got to kind of separate yourself individually and as a team. Just come back to work, getting the opportunity to work playing football.
What makes the team special?
We got it's a tight team. You know what I mean? At this level, guys got families. It's not as a tight unit as like a high school or maybe a college maybe. We got some of that kind of feels around here. You know what I mean? A lot of guys who willing to play for each other, not just for the name on their back. It's pretty cool.
Sean said that before they drafted Terrance, he called you to tell you we're going to take this guy. What do you remember about that call, and what did you say?
Yeah, I mean, I remember him calling me and telling me they were going to take a tight end. I mean, a testament to him. Like he's not something he needs to do. But it was awesome. Cool that he called me, let me know, and I just told him I'm mentor the kid, do the best I can. You know what I mean, and go compete. You know what I mean. So.
When did you first talk to Terrance, and what was your message to him when you had to have that conversation?
I think I reached out. Reached out, get his phone number, and then just shot him a text, let him know if he need anything from me. Here for him. So.
Do you feel like in this year of your career that your role has changed and shifted at all with the new schematic things that are being put on the plate?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I've been the oldest guy in the tight end room since my second year, So I've been kind of that old head, I guess you want to call it, in the tight end room for some years. But yeah, I just try to our tight end room. We can bring the juice every day. It's like it's part of our role. You know what I mean? Be a straw that stirs the drink. So when it's flat, we need to be there. When it's not rolling right, we need to be there. When it is going right, we need to be right there also. You know what I mean? So just trying to do a little bit of everything and help this team go and win football games. That's what we're here for.
Do you feel like you're all, I know you came back at the end of last season and were able to contribute, but now with the off-season program and here, do you feel like you're all the way back? Or
yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good. I mean, it's obviously training camp, you can't replicate playing football. So getting out here, it's always shaking off some rust and stuff, getting back into playing shape and, techniques that, you just don't necessarily, it's hard to replicate football again. So, having a healthy off-season was really good. I feel great. And, it's about, getting out here and working and getting some of that technique, fundamental stuff like that, just to where it's second nature, so.
Thanks,
cool. Thank you, guys.
Have a good day.